Welcome to the TDD Spotlight, the series where we shed some light on Pokemon you may not have considered in Trouble Double Drafts. I'm your host, Technovoid, and with me is your favorite Pokemon analyst, Hamsterwings. Today we've also invited our Season 1 champion, Meteorbower, to shower us in knowledge about Minior. Minior is a C-tier rock and flying type Pokemon with a form change mechanic. As such, we'll start by talking about the ability Shields Down before moving to stats. Minior starts battle in the Meteor form and cannot be affected by non-volatile status, which includes Burn, Freeze, Paralysis, Poison, and Sleep. If Minior's HP is reduced to less than half, it transforms into its core form. If Minior regains HP to go above half health, it will restore to its Meteor form. The game will check if Minior needs to change forms at the end of a turn or on switch in. When in Meteor form, Minior has base 60 in both attacks and speed, and 100 in both defenses. When in core form, Minior has 100 in both attacks, 60 in both defenses, and 120 in speed. Both forms have a base HP of 60. As you might be able to tell, Minior stats in Meteor form are rather lacking. While its inability to be statist and defenses are quite nice for the role, its HP is simply not able to keep up. As such, Minior is all but guaranteed to switch to core form at the end of the turn if it is attacked, which, in all fairness, it may not be given its mediocre offensive and supportive capabilities. While in Meteor form, Minior can certainly feel like a dead slot, with its saving grace being Shell Smash allowing it to apply decent setup pressure. Meanwhile, core form Minior actually has effective Glass Cannon capabilities. While base 100 in both attacks and 120 in speed is already somewhat dangerous, Minior's ability gives it a relatively safe setup opportunity compared to a lot of other sweepers. While it may seem like this gives it the edge over other sweepers in the tier, its form activation is almost entirely dependent on your opponent's targeting, which can be unreliable or even work against your plans. Its typing is also mediocre defensively, boasting weaknesses to water, electric, ice, rock, and steel, which does Meteor form few favors. And speaking of meteors, I'm going to pass it on over to Meteorbower to talk about some Minior sets.
What's up, gamers? Welcome back to my Minior Craft Let's Play. So today, the first form I'm going to show you is pretty much the bread and butter of Minior. You got your Shell Smash and White Herb, and your stab moves Rock Slide and Acrobatics. That is basically all you need for Minior. Protect helps keep you alive a little longer once your opponents actually start targeting you in your core form. But more or less, you exist to pop Shell Smash and then start doing damage. Anything else to add on that, David?
Not really. It's just, if anything to add, it's that Minior can really, because of Shell Smash and okay attack stats, it can run mixed. You can run Acrobatics and Power Gem if that suited your prep to your opponent a little bit better. So
Yeah,
just anything like that. Its move pool is
exactly.
bad.
Be mindful of Meteor's special move pool, which is not great.
One question I'd like to ask you guys is, since Minior is mixed, rather than going 252 in an attack stat, how much sense does it make to run some HP EVs at all in Minior, or does that not make any sense?
I wouldn't oppose investing HP EVs into Minior, especially if it helps you survive an enemy, a particular enemy that you're prepping around, attack that you know is coming.
Because the thing about Shields Down is it doesn't work like Sturdy. It doesn't protect you from an Oko, and especially in doubles, I feel like if both slots target the Minior, that is giving your other slot a free thing, but it is also preventing Minior from doing anything before it hits core form.
That's fair enough. I mean, I think the idea being that, if you're running Minior, you want it to function as this kind of glass cannon.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to overinvest in bulk that it isn't going to need once its HP drops below 50%. So you get that more value out of it by making sure you outspeed your opponents and can deal as much damage as possible.
Okay. And I feel like there would also be the problem of, if they don't attack you and keep you above 50%, even after a Shell Smash you have 60 attack. A Shell Smash is not really helping that much, so you do need a way to activate your core form, I feel like, to be useful.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright.
You can at least start clicking attacking moves if you're still in core form after a Shell Smash, but you really, you're playing against yourself at that point. You're just praying your opponent targets you.
But not double targets then, because you'll probably die.
Of course.
Alright, so moving on to Rocky MZ.
Yeah, this set is pretty much the same. You replace Acrobatics for Earthquake, just flavor of the month. You can really play whatever you want. This is more I want to nuke something with my Minior as fast as possible. Earthquake and Hidden Power Grass actually give you perfect coverage for all of Minior, including Rock Slide. Rock Slide, Earthquake, and Hidden Power Grass give you perfect coverage against all of Minior's weaknesses. More often than not, I feel like you're just going to be clicking Rock Slide because it's your strongest move and has that great flinch chance, which, if you're going first, cannot be, overstated enough, the power that has. And yeah, Rocky MZ is for when you have an opponent on the field who can actually threaten to revenge kill you, and, spread Rock Slide might not be doing enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, with base 120 and maximum speed, I mean, after a Shell Smash, it's very unlikely something's outspeeding you without priority.
Yeah, exactly.
Very unlikely. And speaking of power that can't go understated or overstated, the fact that Minior has several different colors, I think we can all agree, is very important.
It's OP. You definitely have to pick the color that your opponent is most afraid of.
It's true. It's the psychological warfare.
Better.
Psychological warfare. Anything to add on this one, Hamster?
Yeah, if you can trick your opponent into thinking Minior's a water type, that's actually like pretty huge for you.
Oh, true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to Suicide Lead. This one's a bit different.
Yeah, so once we break out of the I click Shell Smash turn 1 mode of Minior, you have a couple different options, the first of which being you slap a Focus Sash on it so you know you can at least live the first hit out of core form, provided you aren't being double targeted. But if your opponent sees a Minior in core form, they will likely invest into it, either one extremely high-powered attack to take you down, or two things, but after the first hit or whatever, you can at least get your first move off after the Focus Sash, and then the follow-up turn, you're going to be pretty effing fast with your base 120 speed, so then you can just pop an Explosion if you're ready to just say goodbye. Otherwise, Rock Slide Acrobatics is just standard.
Sure. Yeah, and I definitely think that this is a point where it's sort of important to bring up people who didn't quite catch it in the intro, that Minior does not switch forms until the end of the turn, so it will wait until everybody goes before it gets its 120 attack. It's not like with Tailwind where it gets hit and then it'll be the next thing to move in the order because it will have gained a bunch of stats. It will only happen after everything has gone. So it will be slow until both of the opponents have moved.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah. And finally, we have Weakness Policy, or Well Played.
Yeah, Weakness Policy is I have an aversion to Shell Smash, but still, for some reason, and I'm running Meteor. I feel like I said Minior. It functions the same thing. Like, you can take a hit in core form, rock your Weakness Policy, and probably survive, and then start dealing out the damage. But the main drawback here, instead of using Shell Smash, is that you don't have the additional speed boost that comes with Shell Smash. Mm-hmm. So you do get the boosted Weakness Policy attack and special attack, but not quite as guaranteed to outspeed enemy scarfed Pokemon, for instance.
Sure.
But yeah, the attacks here are pretty standard, as mentioned before.
So yeah, unlike with some of the other Miniors that are using Shell Smash, you probably do want to run Jolly here just because you're not getting that speed boost.
Yeah, you can for sure run Adamant on any Minior that's running, purely physical moves and Shell Smash. Mm-hmm. And like we said before, you can run Mixed Minior, albeit with its kind of very bad special move pool. You won't really have a lot of options to choose from. Your primary stab, you don't have a flying one unless you do Hidden Power Flying, and your primary rock stab in that case is Power Gem, which is base 80 power but doesn't do anything else, which not great. And then the supplementary moves you get Psychic or Charge Beam, really don't offer don't offer coverage for anything that you're weak to, let alone you don't want to be doing neutral hits with this boosted special attack set. It's just strictly inferior most of the time to running a physical set.
Yeah, I feel like Minior is one of those Pokemon where you don't... I mean, I guess in some cases it works, but you generally don't want to fall into the coverage trap just because of how weak its move pool is. It's yeah, I have stab, I'm using my stab. Acrobatics is good, rock slide is good. Hidden power flying is less good.
Yeah. Like, if you're looking at Minior and you're like, wow, this thing gets light screen, I'm gonna use him as a support. He has a whole bunch of defense. Like, this is
Good luck.
extremely antithetical to how Minior is, like, designed to run. You can, I guess, slap light screen on it for, like, turn 1 instead of running Shell Smash, I guess. But, like,
Light clay
like I said
Mega.
before, it's strictly worse than just popping Shell Smash White Herb most of the time.
Yeah, I feel like the most you'd want to do there is like a suicide lead with screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if anything.
Or
And
yeah,
I wouldn't
stealth
recommend
rocks or
that.
screens, Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing to consider is, like, if you're running support Minior for God knows what reason, like, you don't want, like, an HP recovery berry on it, because that can, like, re-proc core form. Or, well, I say that, but, like, if you're using it as a support, then
You
maybe
might
that's
want Meteor
better?
form.
Yeah, well, the more you know. Don't
I
do
would-
that,
It would make
please.
you lose the speed and thus make you unable to set anything up. You just die.
Yeah.
Just die.
Yeah, if you want to do it, literally just don't pick Minior
Yeah, I
as
think
the Pokemon to
I
do
think
this.
the takeaway is probably don't run a supportive Minior. Like, if you want to run one supportive thing with a suicide lead, I guess, but really you should be using this thing as a glass cannon. That is pretty much the only reason it's a C tier and not a D tier.
Yeah.
Okay, alright. So yeah, as we said, at the end of the day, Minior simply has too few success cases to be useful outside of its main gimmick, which makes it somewhat unreliable, especially in a draft format where it can be prepped for. Its weaknesses, as we mentioned, to several common attacking types does it little good, and Meteor form can be pretty wonky to play around. It does shine brightly in the right situations as a setup sweeper, and it can put in a lot of work for a C tier if the stars align. While Shields Down does allow Minior a bit more setup opportunity than most glass cannons, once the switch is flipped, it requires just as much support as any other sweeper. Clerics, though, are generally less effective due to Minior's ability offering it some immunity to status already, and making it beneficial to stay at low health, another reason you wouldn't want to run an HP berry on this thing, but a redirector or disruptor is always going to be appreciated. Minior also greatly benefits from other offensive threats that can take out its checks, because any bulky Pokemon that are not weak to its shallow move pool are gonna pose a threat. Any final words?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I ran this thing in the TDD Candle Nights off-season event
You
and
sure
had
did.
it, you know, I brought it twice. One time it did nothing, and the other time it popped the fuck off. So, like, oh, can I swear?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, just making sure.
How fucking dare you?
Oops.
Hamster, anything from you?
I feel like one of the hugest problems with Minior is that while it's slow, it's just so abusable.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's very
Like,
easy for the opponent to just play around.
even
and
just
make you a
having,
dead
like,
slot.
Even the opponent just having like one rock slider and one like neutral attacker just kind of invalidates Minior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alright, well that is Minior. Hope you done learned something. Now it's time for y'all to vote on which Pokemon will be covered next time. Will it be the Ground-type Mudsdale or the Rock-type Stonjourner? Vote in the comments down below, and we will see you then. Bye-bye.